The operator of Fukushima Daiichi has run into another problem in efforts to decommission the plant. Workers are trying to get a better idea of the situation inside the crippled reactors, and they were hoping to send in a robotic probe to help. But now they say they have to delay the plan for about a year. Officials with Tokyo Electric Power Company wanted the probe to check the plant's #1 reactor. They were planning to send it into the flooded base of the reactor's containment vessel by the end of March. 3 reactors suffered a meltdown in the March 2011 disaster. The operator thinks fuel that melted through the reactor cores is accumulating in heavily contaminated water at the bottom of the vessel. TEPCO's investigation is the most advanced at the #1 reactor. Last March, investigators used elementary particles called muons to see through the reactor building, like in an X-ray test. It showed that no melted fuel was left in the core. A robot TEPCO sent into the containment vessel the next month failed to locate the fuel. The newer robot can move in water. But an inspection with an endoscope that revealed that the water is heavily clouded by rust and other elements. Now, that means that the probe won't be able to work properly, so officials with TEPCO and the government need to reconsider the plan. The officials are hoping to start removing melted fuel from their reactors by 2021. That task is considered the toughest part of the decommissioning process. It will take an estimated 30 to 40 years to complete. TEPCO officials say also that they want to send robots inside the #2 and #3 reactors, but the schedule for doing that is unclear.
Do you know personally of any scientists or engineers that are in the process of developing new technology, robots or otherwise, to deal with Fukushima? And does any of it seem hopeful and promising to you?
Right, okay. No is the answer to that. I think that all of the work that had been done with robots to try and sort out Chernobyl showed that it's impossible to use robots, because the problem is that the electronic systems that robots work on, they cannot function when the radiation fields get too high, because when radiation impinges on a substance, on any material, what it does is it creates electrons. That's why it's called ionizing radiation. It's absorbed by the material, and it ionizes the material, which means that it kicks electrons out of the material. Now, the problem is that robots work on electrons. Your computer works on electrons. All of these chips, all the electronic chips that people use are all work on electrons, and you can't have a system where the electrons are just randomly being kicked out all over the place, because ultimately the whole thing gets scrambled. And that's what they found in Chernobyl, and they tried everything. They tried the Germans had some very fancy robots, and then they tried robots from somewhere else, and they built their own robots, and none of the robots worked. They worked up to the point where they got into the high radiation fields, and then they just went mad, went around in circles, and sort of fell off the side. That's why in the end in Chernobyl they had to send men in. They called them bio-robots, and they just called up 20,000 men from the reserve army lists, and they put roofing lead around them and sent them in to pick up this stuff by their bare hands and throw it over the side. And of course they all died. You won't hear that. I mean, the international nuclear industry says that nobody really died after Chernobyl except a few of the firemen right at the beginning. But there's an enormous number of people who died because the Russians sent in these young men. And the young men just got huge radiation effects, and then they mostly died before they were 40. Terrifying. But this can't happen in Japan, and the robots won't work. So as I say, there's nothing you can do. They just have to dig around it, isolate it, put up a big notice saying mankind's folly, and keep it cool for another 1,000 years or however long it is.
The operator of a nuclear plant in central Japan has fired up one of its reactors. It's the 3rd reactor restart since the government introduced new, tougher regulations following the 2011 Fukushima Daiichi accident. Kansai Electric Power Company has restarted the #3 reactor at the Takahama plant in Fukui Prefecture. If all goes according to plan, the reactor will start generating electricity on Monday. Current estimates are that commercial operations could resume by late February. Kansai Electric is using MOX fuel, a mixture of plutonium extracted from spent nuclear fuel and uranium. It's the first time the fuel has been used in Japan in about 4 years. The utility also plans to restart the number 4 reactor as early as late February.
The operators of a nuclear plant in central Japan say a reactor they've just restarted has now achieved a self-sustaining reaction. They say it will soon be generating power. Governors of neighboring prefectures are not happy. Kansai Electric Power Company restarted Reactor 3 at the Takahama plant in Fukui Prefecture. This is the third reactor restarted in Japan under tougher regulations adopted after the Fukushima crisis in 2011. Company representatives say it will start generating power on Monday as long as its control rods and other equipment are working properly. They plan to resume commercial operation late next month. The governors of 2 neighboring prefectures are unhappy the company restarted the reactor without their consent.
Part of Kyoto Prefecture is very close to the nuclear plant, so it's regrettable and improper that we were excluded from the approval process.
Yamada said the law should specify which surrounding governments have to be included in consultations before a restart.
We must act responsibly for current and future generations. I, for one, have great anxiety and doubts.
Mikazuki said his prefecture will urge the government and the company more strongly to take safety measures.
And the Nuclear Regulation Authority was not informed about this information leakage. A Japanese agency in charge of nuclear material management says data may have leaked from one of its computers through file-sharing software. Officials at the Nuclear Material Control Center said they detected unspecified data being sent to outside computers from its facility in Aomori Prefecture, northern Japan. They said one of their employees apparently installed the software without knowing it. The center has rules prohibiting file-sharing software. Another computer at the facility contains data on plutonium storage locations. The officials said they will investigate whether critical data was leaked. The International Atomic Energy Agency says Japan's nuclear regulator has improved but still needs better screening and expertise. And it needs to allow more access for inspectors.
At any time and for any plant, the inspectors should be allowed to go where they want. And there is a comprehensive framework for inspection in Japan, but it doesn't give enough freedom for the inspectors to react immediately and to provide with results.
The international body also urges Japan's Nuclear Regulation Authority to hire more competent and experienced staff, as many offline nuclear plants will soon resume operations. The organization's experts did commend the Japanese authority for being transparent and independent of nuclear plant promoters. And it notes the regulator has tightened safety measures. The Japanese organization was established 1 year after the 2011 nuclear accident at the Fukushima Daiichi plant. The IAEA's comments come after it conducted a review of the regulator. It plans to complete a full report in April. Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has made his policy speech to the Diet. He spoke of international relations, the 2011 disaster, and the economy, pledging to create a new path for growth in both Japan and the world. That is challenged by weaker momentum in emerging countries.
We must tackle and resolve various challenges, including economic growth, the low birth rate and longevity, as well as a deteriorating national security situation. I will face any issues boldly, no matter how challenging they are.
Abe said he will pursue growth through the Trans-Pacific Partnership Free Trade Pact and by helping all Japanese people participate in the job market. He also said he plans to discuss the future of the world economy and launch new initiatives for growth at this year's G7 summit in Japan. On international relations, Abe mentioned working to strengthen ties with South Korea, China, and Russia, and he called the alliance with the U.S. a linchpin of the country's diplomacy. He promised he would use that strong relationship with the U.S. to do his utmost to reduce Okinawa's burden of hosting U.S. bases. At the same time, he said he would ensure that military deterrence is maintained. Abe also touched on the 2011 disaster, saying the next 5 years will see continued assistance to rebuild and restore affected areas. He hopes the communities can become self-sustainable once again.